B'siyata Dishmaya, we're going to be continuing our story of the Chacham and Tam, the wise and the simpleton. We started the story already, and we learned in the first reading about the beginning of the story, essentially that there was rich people, two rich men that had rich sons. They learned together in the same school. They had big houses. They loved each other, even though one of the kids was a simpleton and one of the kids was much wiser. And usually kids like that don't get along so much, right? But they did like each other and they loved each other a lot. At a certain point, their parents lost their money and they had to support themselves. The simple son went to learn how to become a shoemaker, a ratzan, and the wise son started to travel the world, trying all these different jobs, jumping around from career to career, from country to country, until he got ready to want to get married, and now he's returning to his hometown so that people will know what he's become, and he'll get married from there. And now we're going to go back to the story of the Tam. What did the simpleton do in all of this time that the Chacham was traveling in the world and trying to grow and not focusing on the purpose, rather focusing on this world and traveling through the world and seeing the world, and to satiate his eye on traveling and indulging in this world instead of getting to the purpose, which is getting married and having a job and doing what you have to do in life. Now when we go into the story of the Tam, let's see. And again, we want to remind everybody that we're not giving the commentary just yet on this story. We're just reading the story. We will get to commentary. But either way, whether we're reading the story or we're learning deeper insights into the story, our only intention is to become more Tam, to become more innocent, more whole, more complete, more simple. Not to become more Chacham, not to become wiser. Our goal is just to be more simpler and more connected to Hashem Yitbarach. Zat Hashem. So we said that the simpleton, when his father told him that he can't support him anymore and that he has to go do what he has to do, so he went to go learn how to become a ratzan, malechet ratzanut, how to make straps. Really what he's meaning here is a shoemaker. And since he was a tam, since he was a simple person, it took him quite a bit to learn until he really received it, right? We learned the Chacham, the wise one, he used to learn how to become a doctor in a quarter of a year, right? How to become a gold jeweler in a quarter of a year. He learned everything really fast. Here, to him, just to learn how to make shoes took him quite a while. He wasn't even the best shoemaker. He didn't even really know how to do it that well. He wasn't even ready, so to say, to really open his own store or do anything like that. It's just, he knew how to do it and he wasn't even the best. But straight away he got married. And he would make his money, he would support himself and his family by way of the work that he was doing. And since he was a tam, since he was a more simple person, and he wasn't so well versed in the career and the job of shoemaking, since that was the case, so then his parnasa, his sustenance, was with a lot of stress, meaning not stress, a lot of he didn't have so much money, it was hard to make money, it was very limited. He didn't even really have time to eat, to take a break, to take a lunch break. He just had to focus on doing his job. Because he didn't have the full craft in his hand. So he didn't have time for breaks. He had to work hard to make everything happen. בשעה שהיה נוקע במרצע והיה מכניס ומוציא החוט האב של התפירה כדרך רצנים, when he was working, at certain times when he would make the holes inside of the straps and he would sew the soles to the shoe, weaving it all together, bringing it all together. אז היה נושך חתיכת לחם ואוכל ומנהגו היה, he would take a little bit of bread, take a bite while he was in the middle of his work, take a little bite and keep on working. But his minhag, his custom was, shaya tamid b'simcha gedola me'od. He was always in a high level of constant joy. Vaya rak male simcha tamid. He would only be filled with joy constantly. Vayu lo ha'ma'achelim v'chol ha'mashkot v'chol ha'malbushim. He had all of the clothing, all of the drinks, all the food you could ever imagine. And he would say to his wife, Ishti, tani lechol, my wife, give me to eat, please. והייתה נותנת לו חתיכת לחם. And she would give him a piece of bread. ואחר כך היה אומר, he would eat it, and afterwards he would say, can I have the rotev with the kitniot? Can I have the sauce with the rice, with the noodles, whatever it was, with the beans? והייתה חותכת לו עוד חתיכת לחם, and she would cut for him another piece of bread, and he would eat it, and he would praise her and say, how nice and how tasty is this sauce with these noodles, with this rice in it. So too he would tell her, can I have some meat? Can I have different types of delicacies, different good foods? And every time he asked for a specific piece of food, type of food, she would give him another piece of bread. He would take immense joy and pleasure from this. He would praise that same food that he was eating. How nice it is, how beautiful it is, how rectified it is. As if he really was eating a steak, as if he really did have a stew in front of him. All he had was a piece of bread. All he had was the most simple. But for him he really felt like he was eating a filet mignon. He was eating the most amazing steak in the world, you know? When he would eat this food, when he would eat just simple bread, he would taste whatever type of dish it was that he had in his mind. Whatever it is that he felt like he wanted to eat at that moment, all his wife was doing was giving him a piece of bread, and he was tasting whatever it was that he wanted to. Why? How could he do this? Because he was so simple, he was so whole, he was so innocent, so pure, and so happy all the time that he could fly in the upper worlds and taste all the tastes he wanted from a piece of bread. So too he would say, my wife, can I have some beer to drink? And she would give him water, and he would praise it. How beautiful, how nice is this beer? And she would say, can I have some honey? And she would give him water, and he would also praise it again. He would say, can I have some wine? And so on and so forth. And she would give him water, and he would take immense pleasure and praise every single drink that he had as if he was really drinking that drink. So too, even their garments, they would share their cloak, they would share their jacket. Him and his wife had one winter fur coat, and he would say to his wife, give me the pelts, give me the fur coat. Like when he went to go to the market, to the shuk, and she would give him a tulip, she would just give him a jacket to go amongst the people. And he would say to his wife, give me the tulip, and she would give him the pelts. And he would take immense joy in this, and he would praise it. How nice is this tulip? How nice is this clothing? And when he needed his kaftan or his kapota, nicer jacket to go to the shul, to go to a synagogue, or to do a mitzvah, he'd say, my wife, can you give me my kaftan? Can you give me my kapota? And she would give him the pelts. She would give him the simple fur coat for going into the market, for doing work. And he would praise it and say, how beautiful is this kaftan? How beautiful is this kapota? So too, when he had to wear a yuppah, an even nicer one, she would give him the pelts. And he would take immense joy in any clothing that he needed. All he really had was one fur coat, and for him, it served him as everything he needed. It was every coat possible, and they were all beautiful, and they were all amazing. And really, it was just the same one again and again. So too, so on and so forth in life, that's how his life was. He had very little, and he found all the joy and all the pleasure in everything that he had, and he even tasted or felt like he was wearing or had the taste of the drink of whatever delicacy that he wanted, even if it was just water, bread, and a simple fur coat. He was just completely filled with joy and tranquility and content constantly, all times. When he would finish a shoe, the way of shoes back then is that it was like a triangle, right? It had three points. He didn't know how to really make, at that time, a shoe that was rounded off, that was a little bit better. He made this like triangle, slide your foot in. He would take this triangular shoe that he made that wasn't even really the best level, and he would praise it. And he would take immense joy, and he would say, my wife, how beautiful, how precious is this shoe. How sweet is this shoe. What a honey and sugar shoe this is. How sweet is this shoe. And she would ask him, why, if that's the case, it's such a beautiful shoe, it's a honey shoe, it's a sweet shoe, it's the best shoe. If that's the case, why is it that other people charge 3 gold coins for their shoes and you only charge half of $1, half of 1? Veshivla, he answered her, Mali bezeh. What do I have to do with what others are doing? That's what he's doing. And that's his idea, that's his business, and that's his shoes. And this is my business, and this is what I'm going to do. Not only that, why are we talking about other people even? Let's start to think, how much am I making profit from hand to hand? How much profit do I make on a shoe? The leather cost me this much. All of the glue and the strings and everything that I need cost me that much. And the rest of the tools that I need and the appliances, they cost me that much. And now, from here to here, what do I make? I make 10 coins. So what do I care to make more, to make less? Profits being made. I'm making something off of the work that I'm doing. That's it. That's the only calculation that needs to be made. He was just filled with joy and content always. For the world, he was a laughing stock. He was a clown. He was a joke. And they would get their lust in him. Meaning, when they wanted to joke on someone, they wanted to make fun of someone, get out of their negativity and inside of themselves, their lust to go down on someone, to ridicule someone because they feel bad about themselves. So the world would use him. He was the laughing stock of the town. When anybody felt bad and they needed to bully someone because they're a hurt person and hurt people, so they would come to him to make fun of him. He appeared as if he was crazy. The way he did things, the way he did business, his multi-coats, which aren't really one coat, a piece of bread for him is a steak. It's like a crazy person. They started to really mess with him. They started to the people of the town only talk to him in order to make fun of him. He got to that point, and he would answer them, no joking here. Let's have a conversation. We can talk all you want. No mockery at all. As soon as they would answer him without mockery, he would receive their words and he would start to talk to them. He didn't want to go into wisdoms. He never was the person that wanted to go into wisdoms, because that's also foolishness, to go into wisdoms. He was just a simple person. When he saw someone was coming to talk to him from a place of mockery, from a place of wasting time, of nonsense, of vanity, he would say to them, what's going to be when you become wiser than me? What are you going to do with your wisdom? So then, what's going to be? You're going to be a fool. What am I? And when you become wiser than me, then even more so you'll be a fool. That was the way of the Tam. That was the way of the Tam. That's how the Tam sees things. That's how he goes through it. And now we'll go back to the first idea. While this is happening, there starts a commotion. And the Chacham, the wise son, he's traveling and he's coming to here with greatness, with power, with wealth, with wisdom. The tam, the simpleton, he runs towards his childhood best friend with joy, with great joy. And he said to his wife, give me my finest coat, give me my yupa. And I'll go to my friend, Yedidi lirod v'natna lo hapeltz. And she gave him the peltz, she gave him the simple coat. והיה רץ לקראתו, והחכם היה נושא בעגלות צב, בגדולה, ובא לקראתו הטעם הזה. He's running towards the chacham, and the chacham's coming in with chariots, with Cadillac Escalades, with beautiful wagons. And this tam is coming closer to him. And he asks him with love, with joy, how are you doing, my brother? Achi, chavivi, my brother, my beloved brother. Ma ata oseh, what are you doing? Baruch hamakom sheviyacha. Blessed is the place that brought you to here. V'ani zoche lirotcha, and I merit to get to see you. And this chacham, this wise one, gam kol ha'olam haya be'enav kelo. The whole entire world for him was like nothing. No one to talk to. No hotel is good enough. No food is good enough. Because sheken ish kazeh, shenidme le'meshuga, even more so, a person like this, simple person like this, that appears like he's crazy. Af al pichen, even though that was the case, that he didn't have the time for anybody, and he didn't find joy in talking to anybody because all these people were too simple for him. Because of the love they had when they were younger, he brought him in and he wanted to see him. My childhood best friend, it doesn't matter who I've become. We grew up together, we loved each other. There's always room in the hearts for my friends, my first friends. He traveled with him into the city. Their fathers, these two businessmen from the past, the father of these two kids, metu, he passed away at that time. They passed away at that time. At the time that the chacham, the wise son, was traveling in all the towns and all the countries across the world and learning different languages and different careers, the father passed away. The houses stayed. And the tam, the simple one, that he never left his place, he just learned how to get a job and get married and start life. He went into his father's house, and he inherited the house. He got to go inside his father's house, because he never left his town. He never tried to travel and find something outside of the town. He stayed home. So when his father passed away, he inherited the house. The chacham, and the wise one, that he traveled throughout all the towns, there was no one to receive the house when the father passed away. And by way of that, the house was lost. The chacham lost his house, and nothing was left of it. Now the chacham, when he's coming back, the wise one, he's coming back to his hometown to get married, for people to see what he's become, he has nowhere to go. There's no house to go to. His father has left him. He has nothing to come back to. He has no safe place to be in. So he has to go to an inn, a hotel. And he had such a hard time in this hotel, in this inn. It wasn't a hotel that was fitting for what he's used to. He's so rich, he's so wealthy, he's traveled the world, he knows what a hotel is. He can't stay in this place, in this simple town that he grew up in. But the tam, the simpleton, his friend that he grew up with, now he has a new work to do. And he would just run between his house to the house of his friend with love, with joy. And he saw that he had such a hard time staying in this hotel, that he's not comfortable there. And he said, the simpleton said to the wise one, Achi, my brother, uleveiti v'tamod etzli. Come, get up, come to my house and come stay by me. I'll take everything I have in one little handful, I'll gather it all together, and the whole entire house will be yours. It will be your house. This was straight in the eyes of the chacham, of the wise one. And he went into his house and he stood by him. That's what we're up to for today. B'ezrat Hashem. I'm biting my tongue to not let out the immense depth that's behind these stories. But we have to know, like we learned in the introductions, it's really about the story, and you have to give your own explanation. We will get to understanding this deeper. We will understand and download from one of the biggest tzaddikim in the world, Rav Kivak, what is going on in the story according to his teachings. But we have to know that we're just reading a story right now, and the story has enough power to do all the work. And what we read today, if we really review it, we'll see in our life how much we can align with both of these situations, and how we need to learn how to make a unification between the two, B'ezrat Hashem.